Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody who joins us in Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform. We continue our operation. My name is Olga Atamanova. It's year 9 of the war and day 295 of the heroic resistance of the Ukrainian people. And I want to introduce our next speaker. Joining us online is Vadym Prystayko, the Ukraine's ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary to the United Kingdom. Good afternoon, Mr. Vadym. Good afternoon, Mr. Vadym. It happened so that during this war, the Great Britain became one of the most powerful of partners of ours who immediately joined the process, and we appreciate it a lot. So let's start our conversation with this support and help provided to Ukraine, what's done already and what is still planned in future. Thank you. You're absolutely right. I think it would be not excessive to say that the support of the regular people, I would put Great Britain on the first place. You know, the number of banners, Ukrainian flags raised above the embassies, in the streets, in the ship, in the vessels, everywhere. It's not only political support, but they are number 2 after United States in terms of the military and financial support, the efforts of the regular people. For example, there is a committee which gathers money for Ukraine. The first contribution was made by the late Queen of the Great Britain, and 6 million pounds sterling were collected by the regular British, and it's been only 13 airplanes with medicines we were sent to Ukraine. I'm not talking about the ships and transport vehicles that carry generators. They provide very serious support. We can talk on and on about that, but I think that Ukrainians are feeling this support already. Mr. Vadym, can you please tell us how many Ukrainians did Great Britain receive as of now for the time being, and how did they get accommodated? More than 200,000 visas were issued, and about 150,000 people reached the British Isles. Well, so some people stay here for longer term. Children already went to school. In some places, the places in the schools are not enough, but we're working on that. All the Ukrainians who came to Great Britain, they received the financial help. They joined they have medical services provided by the medical system, healthcare system of the Great Britain. There are employment opportunities. More than half of the adults who stay in Great Britain, they are already employed in one way or another. There is a number of training courses which help to learn English language, set social contacts, and so on. You mentioned the military support, very powerful military support on a great scale provided by Great Britain. Recently, Ben Wallace, the Minister of Defense of Great Britain, mentioned that they don't exclude the transition of the cruise missiles, which are capable to reach the distance of 500 kilometers. Can you give us a few comments on that? We had a meeting yesterday with Ben Wallace, and we discussed the range of all the military help that is provided to Ukraine. The Great Britain never was minced words. They always knew how to help. They understand what capabilities we need, and they provided those capabilities. We started with something very simple, with anti-tank rockets before the war, and those were the anti-tank rockets that helped stop Russian tanks, together with javelins and our Stugnas, and the amount of military support was growing on a gradual basis. They were Strix manufactured in Great Britain. Then we proceeded to artillery systems, armored vehicles, demining vehicles, and so on and so forth. The great contribution was made with the shells of the necessary calibers that we needed, both for Soviet-era systems and more up-to-date systems. We had rocket systems, the analogs of the rocket systems provided by the United States, but on a caterpillar basis, which can move across difficult terrains. And what's even important, the number of the soldiers and officers who underwent training in Great Britain. More than 25,000 our officers and soldiers were trained by British military in Ukraine. Now this work is brought to Great Britain, and by the end of this year we will have more than 10,000 Ukrainian military trained and 219,000 to be trained next year. And not only by Great Britain, there are 10 nations involved, even officers from such distant countries as Australia and New Zealand. They help in this training, and Great Britain just acts as the coordinator, presenting opportunities to train our military who don't have an opportunity to pay, to provide some significant financial support, but they still want to get involved. Ukrinform, in continuation of the training subject, Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, during his visit to Kiev, he mentioned that Great Britain is intending to expand the training programs and in training of military medics and engineers. Could you give more detail who and when and how will train our military? So those dozens of thousands of people we're talking about, those are the civil people who are trained to be soldiers. So first of all, they are trained to how to survive in the battlefield, and second, how to be an efficient soldier. It's a short program so they train a civil person to become an efficient military. But it does not, our coordination is not limited to this. We have, with many different specialists were trained in Great Britain. Not only medics and engineers, we had helicopter crews. We received the first helicopters, first 3 Sea-Kings. Their crews were trained in Great Britain, as well as the maritime vessel crews. And starting from the sailor who launches underwater drones and all the way up to the captain, the whole crew was trained. And there are people trained for engineering units, signal units, you name it, in all the spheres which we require for ensuring the proper activities of our armed forces. And those 19,200 soldiers to be trained next year, what they will be trained in. The vast majority of them will be the infantry. The leaders would be picked among them, and they will grow to sergeants, to young commanders. That will allow us to with the count of the reserves that we have, we will find the people who will be capable to lead our troops in the combat. Thank you for this information, Mr. Vadym. Thank you for sharing it. We appreciate your ability to join us. I'm reminding you, we had Vadym Prystayko joining us, extraordinary and plenipotentiary ambassador of Ukraine to Great Britain. Thank you for your interest to this subject. Our team is preparing the schedule of events for tomorrow. Follow our announcements, and glory to Ukraine.